so we'll go ahead and start policy committee. Fund accounting system has Jess reviewed all this?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab her because she should be in here.
Okay, and then, legal status and operation, code of ethics for board members, why is this on here?
They're just random ones I started pulling. I started up at the top with the oldest ones and started pulling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was kicking out things that would go to other people, and I figured those three, the legal status, the code of ethics, and the school year calendar are all something that we can speak to without having any specialty people in.
Okay.
And then I wasn't entirely sure if you wanted to review that handbook that I created or not, but so I just threw it out there just in case you wanted
Well,
to.
I don't think the handbook would be something that would be coming to policy committee, but you may want to provide it to the board so that they can review it.
They can review it, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so start with 7215. Okay, and Jess, you've gone through this one?
I did, yes.
Okay.
So, just to remind everyone, we did not have policy 7215. We
Okay.
had policy 7050 and then policy 7250, I think is what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, so 7250 and 7050. They both pertain to the same thing, fund accounting.
Right.
And fund balance.
Right.
And so, across districts in the state, those two policies are in 7215. So I've updated the number to be more comparable to other districts and have combined both of those policies into 7215.
So that we don't need 7050 and 7250.
Correct, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so we're taking those apart.
Yeah, we're just combining them
Okay.
into one, trying to streamline things a little bit.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
And if it needs to be a totally different number, that's totally
No,
fine
and
too.
that's the number that's comparable to other districts around us for the same policy.
Well, okay.
Yep.
The district will provide clear fund balance classifications and use fund type definitions consistently to enhance the usefulness of the fund balance information. This policy is designed to encourage consideration of unanticipated events that could adversely affect the financial condition of the district and jeopardize the continuation of necessary public services. The district should maintain adequate fund balance and reserve in order to provide sufficient cash flow for daily financial needs, secure and maintain investment grade bond ratings, offset significant economic downturns or revenue shortfalls, and
you might recall we wordsmithed this one quite a bit in the fall last year.
I don't recall,
Yeah.
but that's fine.
Yeah.
And
So when you
provide
get down,
funds for unforeseen expenditures related to emergencies. Okay.
so when you get down just a little bit further past this section, we have some red writing that was stuff that we had worked on when we worked on this previously.
Okay. Okay, why do we have this first sentence? I'm curious. Because it seems silly to have this sentence and then go in and talk about why we even have this policy. Because there needs to be some.
So if you keep scrolling down, the first part is where we discuss the fund types,
Mhm.
and then the next part is where we get into the fund balance.
Totally fine.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is this little snippet of a statement, this sentence, seems inappropriately placed.
Okay. You put
That's where I'm
wherever you would
kinda
like to
like-
put it.
I'm curious, is what this read appropriately if we put it here? I don't know. So this policy is designed to encourage consideration of unanticipated events that could adversely affect the financial condition of the district and jeopardize the continuation of necessary public services. The district will provide clear fund balance classification and use fund type definitions consistently to enhance the usefulness of the fund balance information. And in doing so, the district should maintain adequate strives. Can we change should to strives? So in doing so, the district strives to maintain adequate fund balances and reserves in order to,
Yes.
okay,
Do we want to change the color of that?
that's what I'm working on.
Okay.
And yeah, as long as I can leave by about 2:15, I have to take my husband to the doctor, so.
Okay.
Okay, so we just moved from here. Alright, fund types. The accounts of the district are organized on the basis of funds, each of which is considered to be a separate accounting entity. The operations of such funds are accounted for by providing a separate set of self-balancing accounts. The following funds are maintained by the district. The general fund is used to account for all financial resources not accounted for and reported in another fund. As required by the state iFarms system, the district identifies these funds in the 100 series on the district's financial documents. Special revenue funds are used to account for and report the proceeds of specific revenue sources that are restricted or committed to expenditures for specific purposes other than debt service or capital projects. As required by the state iFarms system, the district identifies these funds in the 200 series on the district's financial documents. Debt service funds are used to account for all financial resources restricted, committed, or assigned to expenditures for principal and interest. Okay? Capital project funds and plant facility funds. So these are co-mingled in account 400?
Yes, because you
Okay.
use them they're all capital, that's technically the name of this one, but a lot of the community recognizes the plant facility. So that's why the red writing was put in there, is just recognizing that they're both in that capital.
Okay,
Yep.
no, that's fine, I just wanna make sure that,
Yep.
because when we receive plant facility tax dollars, it comes in that way, it doesn't come in as a capital funds project
Right,
income,
it's
so.
Fund 420 specifically, so but there's other capital projects, like we have the board approved projects fund, which is in there, which is 421, which is where we took the money from the general fund balance and transferred it for capital projects for the siding and windows and stuff
Okay,
like that. And
so-
then like the 436 which is the school modernization funds, that's a capital project fund from the state where they bonded out the money, that's that 20 million that we have. That's in the capital projects fund as well. So they have their own number within the fund. It's just part of that series, that 400 series.
Then I wanna take this away. And I'll start. So capital project funds are used to account for all financial resources restricted, committed, or assigned to expenditures for the acquisition of or construction of capital assets.
I don't think we'll need to strike through that one. That was one that we added, that red writing was
Yes,
what.
I know that.
Okay.
But what I'd like to do, because 400 holds what you just said, the plant facilities, but then you also said school modernization fund, those are big ticket dollars. So what I'd like to do is put a sentence in there that says, within the capital project funds are included, and those different caps. Because if people are looking for it, I think it would be better to identify they're all under capital project funds. They are all identified with their own number, as opposed, because, I mean.
I would recommend rewriting every one of them then, because the reason we were just doing a series is because there are multiple.
Okay, then if we're just doing a series, then we just keep it as,
Yep.
then we should just not include plant facility
Okay,
funds.
and that's fine. But I wouldn't wanna get specific on just one, because there's over 30 funds within the 200 series that we keep track of, so it's,
No, I understand that, but the public is aware of plant facility funds and now the school modernization funds. I don't know that they're aware of all the subcategories within the 200 series.
if they were looking at our financial statements, they are.
Okay. And I'm not trying to, argue the point that they're not looking at it, but I think from a taxpayer perspective, if I look on my tax record, I'm not going to see all the 200 categories. I'm gonna see plant facility funds. And to know that that is inclusive in the capital projects, if I were to go look and be like, oh, there it is. That was my only point in maybe putting a caveat sentence under capital project funds, because the community may not be aware that the plant facility funds gets funneled into capital projects. The school modernization is funneled into capital projects on our list of 400. So if you don't want to identify that, then we don't have to. And I know we listed that there, but I believe when we listed that there, we didn't have school modernization funds at that time. So that way, I don't think we're getting too muddy, but I don't wanna do where it's every single account has a thing. I don't think that's necessary. But that's why I just think if you're gonna put plant facility funds there, then we need to put the other ones. So, are you good with not adding a sentence to state, or?
I'm fine either way.
Okay. Let's try a sentence and see how it looks.
Just if we have a school bond.
That would be debt
capital.
service.
Oh, so it's a
Yeah.
capital.
Cause it's something we have to pay back.
Gotcha.
So
It's used to build just
three-
capital projects.
the 300
So that's why I
series,
wasn't
yeah.
sure where it would go, cause I
So
was like,
the
okay.
300 series would be bond proceeds, and because we're going out for a specific bond issuance, we would have everything identified for it.
To build a new high school.
Yeah, so,
So it would be 300,
yeah, so the debt goes in 300 and the expense goes in 4,
interesting. I just, I didn't really think through that whole,
cause we get revenue from it
Mhm.
too, yeah.
yeah, it's a capital project.
Yeah.
Building a new school, a new elementary or whatever it is, but,
Yep.
yeah. It's just, school funding is such an interesting entity.
Stating something like school modernization funding and plant facilities funding is allocated under capital projects funds. Do you think that's too minimal, or,
I think that's fine.
okay, are there other big ticket dollars that feeds into capital project funds?
It just depends on what the state's doing at that time, or whether or not we have a levy on the books. Really, there's, other than if the board does board approved projects, or if we had, additional money for land, that's the only other thing that kinda sits in there. We have that board land
Right.
money in there, but other than that, that's the gist of the 400 series.
Okay,
Would it make more sense, I was just looking at it, if you scroll down, it says note right there,
right,
put it right there, activity funds. That way you're not specifically within that one identifying something.
But it is in that series, so I don't, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
technically those two items are in that 400
Right,
series.
they just say
But
identified
the
activity
activity
fund.
fund's in 750.
Right, but that note I think is in regards to the whole thing.
for the fund
Activity fund
types, yeah, so.
Facility,
We're talking specifically about fund types here, not individual funds, which is why I was trying to not pull out specific ones, because there's a bunch of individual funds within these fund types other than the general fund.
gotcha.
So would supplemental levy dollars go into capital projects funds?
Supplemental, the plant facility levies,
We have two levies.
and so the supplemental goes into the general fund,
Okay, so supplemental's under here.
under general, yes.
And I think we should. I think it needs to be the. Because with respect to this marrying two policies to create one, if we are at least providing, if we're at least letting people know your taxpayer dollars go into this bucket or this bucket, I think that may be helpful. This statement down here, the above list is not comprehensive, and the district may have other funds such as activity funds. I think we need to reword this in the sense to say the above list is not comprehensive and the district may have other funds that are allocated into the above listed fund.
That's not the intention of that sentence.
Okay, what is the intention of that sentence?
So we have identified 1, 2, 3, 4 series, 100, the series, so 100, it's items, we're getting into the nitty gritty of items here. There's a 500, 600, 700 series of items that we have not identified, so if we're gonna reword that, I would just say the above list is not comprehensive and the district may have other funds in the 500, 600, 700 series.
Okay.
And that way it ties together appropriately.
So then above list is not comprehensive and the district may have other funds allocated, let's do this. In the pursuant to the state iFarms system. As required by the state iFarms system. Does that?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
That just keeps it in line with what we were kind of outlining about not getting into the nitty gritty of the individual accounts, but.
Right, no, I agree, I'm a little alerted when we're like a blurb about activities funds, and then it's like, where are they? So, okay, this policy establishes goals and provides guidance concerning the desired level of year-end fund balance to be maintained by the district.
Chair Thompson, this the everything kind of below that point is the, policy 7050 that we're incorporating in.
Okay.
It follows the natural flow of what other districts have, where they identify the types and then get into the fund balance specifically.
Okay. Okay. These guidelines shall apply to the unassigned portion of the general fund balance. Definition. Fund balance is the difference between the total assets and total liabilities in each fund. Governmental Accounting Standards Board Statement 54 requires that fund balance amounts shall be reported in the following classifications. Non-spendable, amounts that are not in a spendable form or legally or contractually required to be maintained intact. Amounts that are not in spendable form or are legally or contractually required to be maintained intact. Restricted, amounts limited by external parties, grantors, contributors, or legislation. Okay. Amounts, committed, amounts to be used only for specific purposes pursuant to constraints imposed by formal action of the Board of Trustees. Assigned, amounts constrained by organizational intent by the board or delegated authority to be used for the specific purposes but not restricted. Or committed. Balances in special funds not reported as restricted or committed are reported as assigned. Okay, so by the board or delegated authority, who would that be?
The state, typically, state or federal.
Okay, is it anybody else?
I mean, I guess in theory bonds would, but no.
What do you mean by, I guess I'm not following you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it really it's. It would be, the state or federal would be restricted, so I wouldn't even put it, you're
Okay.
catching me off the cuff here, so.
No, that's fine, I'm just trying to figure out who the delegated authority is with
If
respect to
the,
assigned.
I'm assuming this in the intent of this would be if you designated that to the superintendent to assign delegated authority.
Okay,
So you can just say by the board if we would not like to assign that to someone else.
we can put that there. I mean, the delegated authority, I think we need to be knowing who it is that's gonna be assigning money if it's not the board. That was my only thought. And then when you said, no, state or federal, so I'm like, okay, well, we can put state or federal
No.
here.
No, it's literally just organizational intent, which is what we bring as part of our budget process. It's the organizational intent on how we plan to spend funds, so that's why it's assigned.
Okay. So then is there ever a point where without board authority, the superintendent assigns money? Okay,
Not unless you've delegated that authority. Like, for example, you have approved the budget and you could say that the superintendent has authority to move money from one account to the other as long as it's under $50,000. So that's delegated authority of assigning budget, and that would come through as a budget amendment in the future. So if we put money into safety and security, for lack of a better one, and we wanted to move it to Board of Education, that would be delegated authority of the superintendent to say we need this money here now, cause that's assigning the funds.
okay. Not restricted or committed balances in special funds are not reported as restricted, okay. Unassigned, amounts available for expenditure or not restricted in any manner, unassigned fund balance shall only be reported in the general fund.
So
Okay.
this is, on the budget workbook every year, that unassigned fund balance is essentially the unappropriated fund balance that we didn't need to use that money to make the budget whole, essentially, so that's what's left after revenues, anticipated revenues and expenditures. When you add in the fund balance, that's essentially what's left, is that unassigned fund balance.
I know, we've gotten into some pickles of, words where it's unassigned or unappropriated. So I would really love it if we could work on that.
The state terminology is unassigned.
Given in the law, it's unappropriated. So that's where the word pickles become issues, because one says one thing, but we're working under unassigned, but then what is our unappropriated? And that's where it gets a little, and this is an issue that has arisen long before your arrival. It's just been kind of a frustration. So
Would it be appropriate, since the term is used by the state differently than statute, but they both use those terms, to maybe put one in parentheses?
They
No?
mean different
no,
things.
they mean different things.
Gotcha.
So, all right, purpose. The Board of Trustees desires to allow the best practice established by the Government Finance Officers Association as outlined below. It is essential. It is essential that the district maintain adequate levels of fund balance to mitigate current and future risks. Example being revenue shortfalls and unanticipated expenditures. And to ensure stable tax rates while providing sufficient cash flow for regular operations. Fund balance levels are a crucial consideration too in long-term financial planning. Why do we need to say that? Why can't we just take that out? Fund balance levels are a crucial consideration in long-term financial planning. Credit rating agencies monitor levels of fund balance and unrestricted fund balance in the district's general fund to evaluate continuing credit worthiness. Our goal will be to secure and maintain an investment grade bond rating. To provide funds, okay, what do we do? Okay, to provide funds to offset, this our goal, is it this GFOA?
So this is a restatement of the beginning paragraph at the top. If you look at the top, essentially the first four items here are the same thing that are being outlined down below, so we could probably get rid of that whole purpose section, because we've already outlined that above.
Okay,
So they're just a consequence of combining two separate policies into one. But it's essentially the same thing. This one's just a little wordier than the one above.
well, we're going from fund types to actually the fund balance.
Correct.
So, this is specific to the unassigned.
This is specific to just the fund balance itself. So we went through definitions of.
Well, this says these guidelines shall apply to the unassigned portion. So that's why I'm saying this fund balance
Okay.
comment is about the unassigned portion. Is it not?
Yes.
So. How many pages is 8 pages? Oh, no,
It's not really
It's
a-
not 8 pages.
There's a lot of.
There's a lot of
It's really
strikeout,
3
yeah.
pages, if that.
Okay.
I scrolled through it with that, oh, she closes at the top.
Well, it's, so 7215 was ISBA's policy, but
Mhm.
we're just taking our 7050 and our 7250 and putting them together and kind of simplifying them.
Yeah, but you can see as I scrolled through that, I was like, there's a lot of work done there.
Guidelines. The district will strive to maintain an unassigned fund balance of not less than 8.3% or 1 month operating expenditures and not more than 16.6% or 2 month operating expenditures of the general fund expense budget for the fiscal year. If the unassigned fund balance, once attained, falls below the 8.3% 1 month operating expenditure threshold, the board shall develop a plan to replenish the fund balance to a designated minimum level. If the unassigned fund balance exceeds the upper threshold, the board may appropriate excess funds for non-reoccurring expenditures. As part of the policy implementation, the annual budget process will include a minimum amount to increase the unassigned fund balance. If the current fund balance is 5% or less, the amount should be $2,500 or greater for the year.
$250,000.
Thank you. What did I say?
2,500.
Let's live dangerously. 250,000 or greater for the year, considering the financial needs approved by the board. Once the 5% level has been reached, the amount can be reduced to 100,000 annually until the minimum target is met. Okay. Okay, so we don't talk about surplus fund balance, implementation review. I think these two paragraphs are kind of important. I like this one. Short and sweet.
Yep.
And then get into the hairy of it all. Okay, so. Oh, my can go away. This is not working. Yeah, it is. Okay. So when you read through this, is there a reason you felt that we didn't need to include the, within the optional language, anything about the implementation or review?
We didn't have it in the policy before, so I didn't include it here.
Not knowing where this optional language
That's
came
from
from.
ISBA.
No, I understand that, but meaning, because you married 3 policies together, the 7215 was its own policy, and then you brought in 7050 and this, the other, the 7250 and the 7050 with whatever language was in 7215, so that I don't know where that language came from, is all I'm saying. I don't know which one of the 3. Do you recall?
So this piece down here, the optional came from just ISBA's model policy.
Which model, the 7215?
7215,
Okay,
yes.
okay, that's what I wasn't sure of.
Yes. So we used ISBA 7215 to be the boilerplate. And
Right.
then we pulled our two policies into it because they're the same thing.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to either one of those statements, I just,
Okay,
they weren't in our initial policies, and I felt like we were pretty clear in what we were doing, so, either way.
alright, so, they have this paragraph in here, authority to assign, which we don't have. Which I think was part of that whole, this comment. I don't know if it's necessary. Well, I suppose given that this whole shebang will go to the board, if you can make notes, about some of the language within the blue that's not part of the policy, because it wasn't part of the merged policies, so that the board is at least made aware, and if they want to add it, they can. If they don't, que sera, sera, we'll just go forward with what we have. The only thing I'm a little confused about is it just sort of stops. It's not like a neat little package at the end, but could be fine. So is there any other changes or whatnot on here that you see, Jessica? Okay, then we can be done with this one. And it would be one that would just go to the board because the financial ones come from Jessica to the board. Okay. So bond continuing disclosure and certification requirements. Oh, actually, before that goes anywhere, it has to go back to Rusty for review.
Okay.
And then to the board. Okay, financial management. Bond continuing disclosure and certification requirements. And you've read through all this, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot of legalese for what we already,
Well, maybe we can clean it up.
it's pretty boilerplate as far as, I mean, it's essentially what we do, and then legal review is what we do to make sure that we're in compliance, so
Okay.
it's just.
So the
It is
district
what it is.
hereby designates the chief financial officer to have the primary responsibility to ensure compliance with the applicable securities laws and rules relating to issued bonds. The CFO shall review these procedures annually. The CFO will consult with bond counsel and/or district's legal counsel and advisors to ensure the district complies with the bond disclosure agreement. This includes consultation in connection with any potential changes in ratings of the bonds or changes in finances or operation of the district. Prior to placing any bond question on a public ballot, the CFO will ensure the bond resolution ballot language fits the required description in Idaho code and presents the information to the board for approval prior to submitting to the county clerk.
Can I add it? Sorry.
What?
I just added it prior to submitting it to the county clerk. I don't know if that matters.
Okay. It being the ballot language.
Yeah.
Okay. Suggesting a new number between if policy or law under financial management heading. Okay, did we change the number? Was it a different number?
No. So, it would, if it's gonna be financial management,
Right.
then we would have to change the number, cause that one would put it under a different
7710
7710, yeah. So-
financial management.
Okay, let me go down.
Oh, I had it on my comment. One more reply. Oh, yeah,
Wait, what am I doing?
go down. Right there, oh.
Oh,
Policy reminds that it would fall under the heading expenses.
Every district has this policy in the state as 7710.
Do they? Okay.
well, but that doesn't mean we have to. 7710. So we have financial management, and then budget, and then accounting systems. I don't know though that the other. See, this is financial management,
Mhm.
and it'll be 7215, which will be under accounting systems.
Okay.
So financial management is the 700 series. This technically should say financial management.
Okay.
In my opinion. And then this technically is the financial management of this, and because they're all going to be under financial management.
Gotcha. Okay.
So 7710, which is under expenses for whatever reason. If that's where Jessica wants it to remain, then it can. It doesn't seem like it's an expense, but it may be because a bond is something we have to pay back. So it would
Gotcha.
qualify.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
We're one of the few districts that break them into categories like that. So
Gotcha.
typically they just list them and they don't have subcategories.
Subcategories, yeah.
Any other? Okay, no. Simply because you are going to review this. Okay, so this is the procedures. This is supposed to be a policy, though. The policy contains the procedures? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Simply because the board's tasked with reviewing all the policies. So just report to the board if you make any changes. Oh, hello. I didn't do that, did I?
That's me.
Okay.
Don't mind me.
Alright. You're scaring me. The CFO will actively participate in the preparation of all primary disclosure materials. The CFO will review and prepare the following. All post-issuance disclosure materials, including the materials for the district's financial statements, the information described in the required annual filings, events required to be disclosed under the rule known as the material event filings, and any other voluntary or required disclosure to the stock market. Do we have stock? I mean, what is that statement about?
Well, a bond is sold, that's.
Oh, specific to bonding,
Mhm.
okay, gotcha. The CFO will review all primary and issuance disclosure materials and consult with the Board of Trustees, to ensure the materials do not contain false information or omit material information that investors would want to know in making an informed investment decision about bonds. The CFO will obtain appropriate training in the issuance of municipal bonds, securities laws, disclosure proficiency, in the use of electronic municipal market access, and update training annually and as needed. That just seems weird.
You can take out the and after annually.
And update training annually as needed. I did. Right.
Is it annually
That's a weird.
or as needed, or just annually if needed?
It's if, we currently don't have a bond, so this policy is in
Okay, so
play right
then,
now.
so then you would need to, okay.
Well, it's on an annual basis or as needed, that was struck. But,
It's more annually if needed, because as she said, we don't have a bond coming every year.
right,
So it would need to be updated to as needed.
and maintain all training annually or as needed. Is that better?
Well, that's saying that it's, well, to me, annually or as needed is saying it's happening annually
Right,
or more frequently if needed. Versus annually if needed is saying if we have a continual bond need, it's happening every year.
and maintain all training as needed.
Or just as needed.
Okay. Do you think that's appropriate language, Jessica? Okay. Duties of the CFO. Prior to submitting a bond question to the county clerk, the CFO will ensure it includes required ballot disclosure language found in Title 34, Chapter 9. Is that the correct title and chapter? Did we check it again? Because they have a tendency to move stuff.
I'll check it again.
Well, I mean, did you check it before when you
I
reviewed?
reviewed this last, yes,
Okay.
but I can check it again.
Well, if you've already checked it, I'm good with that, that's all I was asking. Upon the issuance of any bonds or annually in the absence of the issuance, the CFO shall update required annual filings to reflect the requirements of the disclosure agreements and requirements of the district. Within the same, or within the time specified under each disclosure agreement, the CFO will submit the district's required annual filing to the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board via EMA. Not more than 5 days after the submission of the required annual filing to the MRSB, the CFO shall provide the superintendent and the Board of Trustees written confirmation that the annual required filing has been submitted and filed properly with the MSRB through EMA. The CFO shall independently verify by access to EMA that the required annual filing has been filed and properly appears on EMA. In the event that the required annual filing is not completed in time to submit the required annual filing, oh my lord, to the MRSP through Emma, within the time specified, the CFO will file a notice of the occurrence of such event in accordance with the policy and procedures set forth below under reporting of events, and in accordance with the rule, and submit the required annual filing as soon as it is available. Reporting of events. The CFO will make all required material event filings via Emma consistent with the requirements of the rule. The occurrence of certain events, including payment defaults, requires a material event filing without the need for a materiality determination.
So I don't have to send it to someone to determine if it needs to be a material determination, cause it's already determined that it's material. So if it doesn't fall into these 9 categories, if it's not one of these 9 categories, I need to figure out if it's considered a material, we need someone to determine if it's a material event. But these 9 categories,
I guess I
regardless,
just
are considered
hung up
material.
on the word materiality, that's all.
That's,
Standard
it's,
database.
yeah, it's auditing.
Principal
language.
and interest payment delinquencies, unscheduled.
We use materiality a lot in accounting.
Mhm.
Unscheduled
Yeah.
draws on
Not for
debt
people use.
services
There's the challenge of the day.
reflecting financial difficulties, unscheduled draws on credit enhancements reflecting financial difficulties, substitution of credit or liquidity providers or their failure to perform, adverse tax opinions, the issuance by the IRS of proposed or final determinations of taxability, notices of proposed issue, IRS Form 5701 TEB, or other material notices or determinations with respect to the tax status of the security, or other material events affecting the tax status of the security. Defeasances, rating changes, bankruptcy, insolvency, receivership, or similar events of the obligated person, default event of acceleration, termination event, modification of terms or similar events under the terms of a financial obligation or the obligated person, any of which reflect financial difficulties. Other events, such as non-payment related defaults, must be analyzed to determine if the event is material, and if so, a material event filing is required. The CFO will consult with bond counsel regarding any questions as to whether an event has occurred and what filings are required. These include, okay. What is this? I just don't understand why these procedures are part of the policy. We've kind of got away from doing that, given that, I just don't understand. Other events, okay, where are we at? The CFO will consult, there we go, I think I said that. These include the consummation of a merger, consolidation, or acquisition involving an obligated person, or the sale of all or substantially all of the assets of the obligated person other than in the ordinary course of business, the entity into a definitive agreement to undertake such an action, or the termination of a definitive agreement relating to any such actions other than pursuant to its terms. That's one heck of a sentence. Non-payment related defaults, modifications to rights of security holders, bond calls and tender offers, release, substitution, or sale of property securing repayment of the securities, appointment of a successor or additional trustee, or the change of name of a trustee, incurrence of a financial obligation or agreement to covenants, events, or of defaults, remedies, priority rights, or other similar terms of a financial obligation or the obligated person, any of which affect security holders. The CFO shall establish appropriate procedures within the district to ensure employees of the district who have access to material information required to be disclosed under a material event filing are aware of the requirements of the disclosure agreement. And will report such events to the CFO in a timely manner. As soon as the CFO learns of the occurrence of an event. And.
Sorry, I just took out the second end.
Oh, was that
Yeah.
not struck through?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay, I didn't even catch that because I was looking for the and right there. As soon as the CFO learns of the occurrence of an event deemed material or the knowledge of such an event would be material under applicable securities law, the CFO will prepare and file or cause to be filed a material event filing via Emma within 10 business days. Is that according to statute?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, it's bond law too, but yeah.
It's what?
Bond law, but.
Okay. Not more than 5 days after the submission of the material event filing to the MRSP, the CFO, PDQ, WXYZ,
Mhm.
shall verify by access to Emma that the material event filing has been filed and properly appears on Emma. Didn't we already say that? Nothing in a disclosure agreement prevents the district from making a voluntary filing with the MSRB of other material information in addition to the events that give rise to a material event filing under the rule of and the disclosure agreement. Failure to file. In the event the CFO fails to make any required annual filing or material event filing, the CFO shall immediately notify the superintendent and cooperate fully to consider whether the district should engage a disclosure agent, if one has not already been engaged, to take other action to ensure future filings are made on a timely basis.
Wow, so you're gonna self-report, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
I mean, I would anyway.
Others have not. Upon receipt of any correspondence from the SEC, the CFO will immediately notify the superintendent, provide the superintendent with a copy of such correspondence, and develop a plan of action to respond to the SEC inquiry.
These are the driest two policies I think we have in the district, I'm just gonna let you know.
We could just make it simple, like, yep, we follow the rules. Call it good. Alright. Unless otherwise specified in applicable district resolutions or tax certificates, the district shall maintain the following documentation for the term of each issue of bond, including refunding bonds, if any, plus at least an additional 3 years.
So I have to keep everything after the end plus an additional 3 years.
Okay. For the term of each issue of bonds, plus at least an additional 3 years, okay. A copy of the bond closing transcript and other relevant documentation delivered to the district at or in connection with closing of the issue of bonds. A copy of all material documents relating to capital expenditures financed or refinanced by bond proceeds, including the documentation, construction contracts, purchase orders, invoices, trustee requisitions. Why is that highlighted? What is that?
I believe you and Superintendent Arnold had been working on this previously. Not sure why it's highlighted. I just left it highlighted because it was highlighted when I received it to review.
And payment records. What would a trustee requisition?
So this isn't trustee as in board of trustees, this is a trustee as in the trustee account for the bond.
Okay.
Maybe that wasn't
Maybe
understood.
That was the
Define a
question.
bond trustee.
We're like,
Yeah.
what would we be
It's
doing?
Or
bond-
trustee of bond,
it's
trustee of bond, whichever is
trust-
the correct
yeah, bond.
language.
Bond
So,
trustee.
cause we have bond trustee statements, so that's the other one, they call it a trustee on their side as well, it's not a
Mhm.
board of
But
trustee,
to
it's.
Clarify.
Trustee of
So we're gonna add
Trustees.
a bond.
Define that.
Is it a bond or bonds? James
Depends.
Bond.
I would just say bond requisitions, cause you have a plural in the next one, so you're fine.
What was that?
I think you're fine with just bond.
Trustee of bond requisitions and payment records as well as documents relating to costs reimbursed with bond proceeds and records identifying the assets or portions of assets that are financed or refinanced with bond proceeds. A copy of all contracts and arrangements involving private use of bond financed assets or for the private use of output or throughput of bond financed assets, and copies of all records of investments agreements, arbitrage reports, and underlying documents including
Bond.
trustee.
Jessica, I don't know what you're talking about. This is the most riveting read I've had. all
Oh,
week.
it is not, I promise you, it is extremely boring, and nobody wants to do it,
I fell asleep in my business law class
Yeah.
because it's.
because of this, yeah.
Okay, so we are good to go. This needs to go to Rusty and then to the board. Preferably if we could get it on this board meeting, that would be great.
Okay.
It's just some light reading.
I'm sure, yeah. There'll be lots of discussion to be had.
You probably should have those at the very forefront of the agenda and not the end, so people don't fall asleep.
Alright, legal status, and operation.
Don't you have to leave it too?
So then we'll just-
2:10.
I can push it to 2:15 if everybody else wants to do that. How big is this? Oh, we can do this one. Alright. Legal status.
I'm sorry?
Move from this Wednesday to next
It's next Wednesday, August 13th, yeah.
The Board of Trustees of the Lakeland Joint School District 272, okay. Although this is the first policy.
Well, like I said, I just went through and started pulling.
Is the governmental entity established by the state of Idaho to plan and direct all aspects of the district's operation to the end that students shall have ample opportunity to achieve their individual and collective learning needs and to provide a thorough system of education. Each school district, what is this? Slightly over. Now or hereafter established when validly organized and existing is declared to be the body corporate and politic. 33, is that listed down here? 3301. Okay, perfect. So we made it friendlier to read. Okay. The district in its corporate capacity come on to the district, eh? May sue and be sued and may acquire, hold, and convey real and personal property necessary to its establishment, extension, and existence. The district shall have authority to issue negotiable coupon bonds and incur such other debt in the amounts and manner as prescribed by law. May sue, may acquire, hold. Okay. The policies of the board define the organization of the board and the manner of conducting its official business. The board's operating policies are those that the board adopts from time to time to facilitate the performance of its responsibilities. So this, okay. Interesting. All right. Any comments?
Wow, you got through 3 of them in this meeting. That's amazing.
There's a great comment.
No. Comments from the peanut gallery. This, though, I think oh wait, that's the current policy.
She's shooting for 4 and I just.
Yeah, she's like, I can
she is
beat it.
not.
That's
No,
not
This-
you can do this.
No, this was recently,
Go down. It'll tell you when it was done.
On
In
this
my-
policy?
Nope. That one, all the way down. Policy data bank.
Well,
Click on that.
can't I just pull up the current policy?
I don't know if it has the dates on
It
it.
should.
Oh,
Right
perfect.
here. Okay, so we just did this in 2022, and it took a lot of work, because we actually, what is this?
Well, it's, so where it's.
Because that's criminal law, that title number.
Mhm. So where it's, all of the, references that are on this draft,
Yeah,
I couldn't find.
well.
Because it doesn't exist anymore. So then I just started scouring anywhere where it may exist. And those right there are just cross references. But the TSAB thingy,
The
it's
what?
TSAB at the bottom. A reference, that one. Doesn't exist.
Oh.
So I just started kind of looking pulling where it might be relevant, things that might be
Okay,
of interest.
so, yeah, that, so if, then that website's obviously changed,
Mhm.
and this is a Texas Associated School Board.
Mhm.
So, or I don't know what the E stands for, I'm assuming it's associated. But we pulled a lot of their language because we felt it was more appropriate to
Gotcha.
what the trustees actually, and we liked their layout because it talked about attitude, stewardship, conduct, character, and commitment to service. So, I don't know if there's any changes that need to be made to this,
Okay.
other than, we can send it before the board for approval, I guess. Does anybody have any input on it? Is taking office and oath of office as cross-reference? Duties for individual trustees? We may need to look at that to make sure that it's, I don't know.
So Michelle, my question is on this, do you guys sign this annually or do you just sign it when you're swearing them in? Cause I thought you guys had to sign annually at your annual
We
meeting.
do.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we all, I'm trying to think.
Cause I thought according to state statute, you guys had to do it annually.
I think you're correct.
A review of this one.
So, yeah, we can bring it forward for a review just to make sure that there's nothing that needs to be changed. I would make sure Rusty reads it first before you bring it to the board, as just sort of something to, review. I mean, unless anybody, do you want me to read through it so we can see if there's anything?
I'm pretty good at doing that. That looked like it makes sense to me.
Yeah, we took a lot of time when we did this in 2022. Okay, school calendar, let's see what this is all about.
It says it's recommended to review and sign a code of ethics annually, though it's not legally mandated.
Okay, because I think in all fairness, I think the only time we've done it is when we've had new trustees. Every 2 years we do it, because every 2 years it may potentially change, but whenever a new trustee is sworn in, we all take the code of ethics. But would you make a note that we need to determine if we want to do this annually?
It's a good refresher, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
So let's see if we might be able to get a little. All right, so instruction, school year calendar, and instructional handbooks. Oh yeah, pretty cool, short. School year, school district fiscal year. The fiscal year of the school district is from July 1 to June 30th. School calendar, the board annually shall establish the dates for opening and closing classes, teacher in services, the length and dates of vacation, and the days designated as legal school holidays. So the board shall establish Holidays and commemorative days. School holidays observed shall include New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day. Columbus Day and Veterans Day are observed as commemorative days when Veterans Day falls on a school calendar day. What?
She was like, Independence Day, we're different school,
I was
yes,
in
but
the teacher
some people
focus.
work year round.
Yep,
Teacher
yep,
focus.
yep.
Yep,
Summer school.
she had a
Um,
teacher brain on, it's fair.
It's all good. When Veterans Day falls on a school calendar day, doesn't it every day, or every year?
No.
Well,
Yes, it
Okay.
does, yes, it does.
All teachers and students shall conduct and observe an appropriate program of at least one class period remembering and honoring American veterans. Cause I didn't think it was a floating day, like,
Well, the-
or is it a
it's-
specific
It's
date?
technically the 11th,
The 11th.
but it's
We haven't
officially
observed
recognized
that.
on the second Monday.
Okay,
So this year it's on Tuesday.
I think it would be appropriate just to keep that language in there
Mhm.
since it does have a designated.
Columbus Day is always the second Monday.
Veterans Day is the
Also-
11th.
But- this isn't the commemorative day, it's saying Veterans Day, so it
Veterans
would
Day
be-
is the 11th, always,
Right, so
so it could fall on a Saturday.
it could fall on a Saturday,
Mhm.
but we do have,
And we
maybe
do
we
not-
don't?
No, because
Okay,
I only reason I
all
say
right,
that,
okay.
I was in the classroom
Mhm.
on a year when it fell on a weekend,
Okay,
but yet we still tried to
acknowledged,
do a teach to on the
Okay.
Friday before or the Monday after, whatever it was, because it is such an important holiday.
okay, right,
By law, we wouldn't have had to,
okay,
per se, because it didn't happen on a.
but as a teacher, you
Yes.
chose,
Yes, we
right,
always
okay.
have.
I think most districts
Okay.
do.
There is
Yeah.
a-
Well, we have such a phenomenal,
There is a state statute that requires us if we're in service on
Mhm.
Columbus Day or Veterans Day,
Right.
that we have to have some
Well,
sort
and
of.
that's what it
But
is.
No,
if it falls on a
I
Saturday or
know
Sunday,
that.
we don't
Well,
have
the
to.
Columbus, the Columbus Day was a new one.
oh, but I just know that our Veterans Day productions are just,
Phenomenal.
they are, and so we do that whether it's on, you know, if the holiday is specific to a Saturday, we still are doing that, so, okay. Any legal holiday that falls on Saturday, the preceding Friday shall be a holiday. Any legal holiday that falls on Sunday, the following Monday shall be a holiday, except when the holiday is observed on a Sunday.
So on the instructional hours, I have a request that we don't actually put in the hours that we, ask per state statute, Idaho Code 335112, because now there has been, there's been language that's been changing in regards to like 4-day school weeks and things like that, so.
But for this year, this isn't changing.
Right.
Because legislative session's over.
Right, but I'm just saying for future, if we could just cite, because this statute could change, but at least in those minutes and everything could change, and if we just say, just per Idaho Code 335112, the district should meet the minimum number of instructional hours for students per Idaho Code.
Which we don't have to change again.
That's right.
Where's my thingy? There it is. Oh, no, it's not a paragraph, it's a section. Did it insert it? It did. So the district shall provide the minimum number of instructional hours for students at each grade level pursuant to Idaho Code 335112.
Yep.
Okay. Teacher in-service days, not more than 22 hours may be utilized for in-service teacher activities.
So this just annoys me too, because this is also outlined, in Idaho Code. And so I hate putting stuff in policy, because policy to me is more of, it's a board thing where we have state statute we have to follow. So, in service, let me find it.
I
not
have
in
word for
33.5
word
Yeah,
on it,
I'm looking for it here.
on my comments.
Number.
Mhm.
Click on it,
Outfit,
there you go.
half day,
22
full day.
hours.
So look at
33.5.
33.5.112, 1C. Right there. So it's just an Idaho code.
Okay.
Instructional hours.
I don't know that that's how you wanna state that.
No.
The only reason I'm saying that is we can include up to 22 hours or what it is right now according to code, could change. We don't have to do 22
Right.
hours and we could choose to do more. We can
Yeah.
only claim 22 when building the calendar.
Exactly.
So this isn't what we have to do.
Right.
It's what we're allowed to do and include as instructional minutes when we're building our calendar.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Does to me.
Yeah, I'm like, I
Cause
know,
I do the
you
calendar.
just nailed it. But I just, when I read that, I was like, oh, we don't always have, and sometimes we have more than that.
I mean, the instructional hours for students are required, but the in-service of up to 22 hours is not on it.
So the district shall provide,
May provide, or may include up to, because,
well, Brooke's suggesting taking out the 22-hour
right, I'm just, and that part,
parameter.
what you put there in pursuant to it would be, like, the district may include
But they're
annual instructional hours for in-service pursuant to, that would, but rather than say shall provide, because we are not required to provide those hours.
But we are for students, so they're two different things. We shall provide the minimum of those instructional hours for students. Out of those instructional hours, 22 of them can be
Right,
included.
But I'm looking at the teacher in-service
Yeah.
statement she made. The teacher, or the instructional, for sure, we have to hit those, but if we want to include 22 hours, we are not, it
Right.
says shall provide, we do not have to provide any instructional and service minutes.
Right, but we do have to provide those instructional minutes for students. We have to at least
Right.
meet that minimum, that is required.
Which is like how this is right. This one right here,
Right.
Well, it says, okay, when approved by the local school board, annual instructional hour requirements stated in paragraph A for each school district shall annually adopt and implement a school calendar that provides its students. So as part of the instructional hours that we're giving the students, we can take a portion of those hours, not to not to go beyond 22 hours,
Yes.
to be staff development. Okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, which is true, but the way I read that second sentence that you just edited
You have to.
is that we are now going to provide 22 hours of our instructional calendar. 22 hours of it will be professional development or in-service hours. But it doesn't have to be.
Right.
I took out the word required, but
Shall provide, it just, I don't know,
because that's,
could we put shall provide up, I don't know, up to, or?
but we're not saying how much we're providing, we're just saying we're going to give it. So in the event something happens and all we can provide is 1 hour, that's all we do, because that's all the board approved. Does that make sense? Now, from a teacher standpoint, I don't know if your licensure requires a certain amount of in-service hours. Okay.
Well, yeah, you
Well,
do,
but
you have to have.
Outside our own time.
Well,
we can do
yes,
it.
yeah.
That's our own, yeah.
The district can provide those, but you could go.
But if the district
someone
doesn't
else's
provide it, I
service.
think there's.
You have to go, yeah.
You'll find a class
Other
somewhere.
university
Yeah.
credits, yeah.
I don't know if it would make more sense to say the district may provide.
The district may provide
I do, but I want to finish this.
teacher
It's a semantics, it's a word, I just don't know that,
Well,
like,
I
I feel like
just-
shall ties you to something that we will do, or it's fine because it's.
But, okay, if we state this, the district may
I got
provide.
it, okay.
And, oh, go ahead.
All right, the district, shall, provide, the mandated instructional hours as per that Idaho code, which may include up to 22 hours of,
Or up to the allotted
which
time
may,
pursuant to.
yeah,
That way you don't have to go back and change it if the code changes.
right,
That's what I was trying, how do you
That's
word
right.
this to have it be the code,
Mhm.
but still not tie our
Right.
hands to, we have to now give 22 hours
Yeah.
of instructional.
Just say that.
So, okay, the district shall provide the mandated annual instructional hours for in-service.
For
students.
students, for
instruction.
students,
But see, but that's teacher in service, so.
yeah, for students, which may include
The,
in-service teacher hours or however.
as
it's-
pursuant to, yeah.
As pursuant.
No,
Pursuant to.
sorry. We're getting way too many words to say something simple, which according to the way
If it's not-
I'm reading the statute, that the board may approve, that the board approves teacher in-service instructional hours
Up
that
to.
are not going to go beyond 22 hours.
Right, but.
So what you're saying is you want to throw in there that it's going to be up to, or we're not going to go beyond.
No, I'm just saying, I don't think the word mandated should be there, because we are not required to provide those in-service hours. And it says shall provide, I don't want it to read as if we have to do it. You know, that those instructional hours may.
Shall meet
provide.
this
May
district
provide
shall meet.
instructional hours for in-service teacher.
May provide
Mandated
in-service teacher
instruction
hours.
Hours, which.
But it's not hours, it's activities according to the statute.
22
But it's
hours
time
of teacher.
not with students that counts as instructional time.
Instructional hours.
It still counts as instructional.
Right, it counts as instructional
So,
time.
It's
I have
22
here-
hours out of the student.
The district shall meet the state mandated instructional hours requirement, which may include up to 22 hours of teacher in service per Idaho code.
There you go.
What?
Okay. The district shall meet the state mandated instructional hours requirement
That's a student instruction. Just so that
Shall meet the state
mandated instructional hours requirement, comma, which may include up to 22 hours of teacher in service,
Or which may include the allotted time according to Idaho code.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about the hours.
right, you can do that too, per Idaho code.
Okay, so what?
Which may include the allotted hours
Pursuant to.
and you can take out the up to, just say, just put, and you can take out the 22, so the allotted hours of teacher in service per Idaho code.
And it's that code that's up above.
And then you can take out that top sentence there, and that should do it.
You can take out the bottom one now too, not more than.
Yep,
rewrote the whole thing.
We just didn't tie our hands to the hours if the code were to
Yeah,
change.
right.
So
we
the
thought so.
district shall meet the state mandated instructional hours requirement, which may include, the allotted hours of teacher in-service activities pursuant to the Idaho code, okay? Is that sufficient?
Perfect.
All right. So that needs to go to, Rusty. Did I call him Randy earlier? Who knows?
No.